Is that where some of the shift has happened? There's something that developers have to be cognizant of and aware of. And if so, give us some examples of great apps that have done a fantastic job
So
of on the contextual side.
a year ago, just a little example. A year ago, I was trying to find my way to the city hall, and I went to my search app on my iPhone and typed the word Dudley City Hall in, and there were a number of hits that came up, none of which had to do with Dudley, Washington. Okay. Today, my phone knows when I type in the word Dudley City Hall that I'm looking for the one near me, right? And so it had the right answer right up front. So I think that contextual awareness and trying to guess right based on the user's context, those little things make a lot of difference in the quality of user experience. And I think that the fact that it took Google X number of years to get there, it's only the last year that I think that mobile search on Google is becoming more context aware. But I think that's an important lesson, and I think every app needs to think about ways to leverage context in a way that now the mythical Starbucks coupon, I mean, I'm not a big fan of that, you're going to walk up to a Starbucks and someone's going to feed you a coupon for a latte. I'm not as bullish about, but I think
Shopkick has something similar for just walking into the store to kind of reward you for that. How the fulfillment works, I still don't know.
But I think those kinds of apps, right, because the distribution is broken, they try to incent behavior of users, and suddenly walking into a store gets you points, and then you get kickbucks, and then some 2,000 kickbucks will get you $5. I don't know if it's meaningful if you're already paying $130 for your phone plan. I don't know if $5 saving in Target is going to get you there. So I think I think if the discovery and distribution is streamlined through the app stores, I think that could change the type of apps that also come out and how context. Now I think developers focus on context from user behavior so they can do more things with the user, and the user is already saying, is everything you need to know about me here? That's already declared. They've declared location, they've declared gender, they've declared age, they've declared what apps they go to. So you can do you don't have to ask all these questions. So I think that's still not taken advantage of at the moment. And primarily because, going back to the same point, if you're going to do 20–30% of the product, you don't have the time to really take advantage of all these underlying data, make the right tweaks, and therefore do it. But the good news is, I'm sure everybody's phone every day has the badge on the App Store of your iPhone saying X number of updates available. So you can update it every single day. The users don't care.
Right.
I don't know if that's possible in regular software, but it's definitely possible in mobile. So I think that if you can bring it down to the most simple thing and can figure out how to get that out there in the current distribution model, you can start leveraging the users, and they are the best context as to what drives it. And you can make them do things that are completely silly. Walk into a store and walk out, and that's a big deal. And you will find people doing it 62 times so they can reach the next gaming level. And it happens. Totally happens.
So location is one important context, obviously. What are some of the others that we as developers should be thinking of or be potentially leverage?
Because the simple one is just the form factor of the device. I mean, don't build your app. If you're going to have 3.5, 4, 5, and 7, and 10-inch screens on Android, take advantage of that. Build apps that actually understand what type of device you're on. Build a tablet-friendly experience for large tablets. And really, rather than having the app just sort of double itself based on the device context, I think that's one that I throw on the table. The other one is if you know things about people from the web. So if you happen to have a product that's both on the web and mobile, anything you can learn about users from their web experience should be reflected in their mobile experience. So one of the things at AOL we found, things that we understood from the web frequently gave us much better user loyalty and engagement if we reflected those preferences on the mobile side of things as well. So that's another example of context that you can take advantage of.
Just a couple of things besides just location. If you were to take a kind of a quick survey of the top 100 apps in each app store, you can kind of get a sense as to where we are in the evolution of apps. And right now it is taking advantage of what's native to the platform. So you do have location, you have a camera, so you have a lot of photo apps that make it hot, obviously Instagram being the best example. You see music apps, so a lot of people are listening to music, and so you see that actually moving very, very high in the charts. You also see people reading a lot, so they read newspapers or read magazines and books and so forth. So you see, the flipboards, the pulses, and so forth that are trying to create beautiful experiences around that. So on a very basic level, I think there's a lot of white space in the basic use cases that the phone the guys who are developing the underlying operating system are thinking that are basic use cases, and so you have a lot of white space there. I do think that there's some interesting places that can be played outside of those spaces that are just haven't been thought about, which sometimes is scary as an investor to invest in. So I see some of those pitches, but I think it's worth exploring as well.
I think the most important thing, the simple but powerful notion, is that as an app, you are your own context. Each app is a world into and of itself and turns the phone into a special purpose device for that thing that you're doing right now. And that's powerful. And when people think about things using the old paradigm of, I've got a window open in my browser, I've got 5 applications running on the desktop, they tend to miss this. But this is the power that you as an app developer have. You may only get that user's attention for a few seconds, a few minutes at a time, but when you have it, that's all that's going on the phone right then. So understanding what your title is, what your icon is, who downloads it because of those things, what they expect, and actually starting it that way. Starting from users' expectations from the pointy bit at the App Store all the way down through the rest of the iceberg, into what they expect of your app and the contextual experience that they expect to have from there is incredibly powerful. You see all the time, for example, games that get this wrong. Games that look like they should be dip in and it's a few minutes of fun, but in fact have instruction screen after instruction screen, and then nobody makes it to the 3rd one because they're gone. Or social applications that start out by expecting you to start answering, by investing. Let's just say start out by expecting you to invest, but that's not the right context for these applications. Yeah, if you're making an RPG on the phone, then you're going to get people who are committed to going and playing a role-playing game and sitting there for 15 minutes at a time. But unless you're doing that, you need to understand the context that you're building for yourself and the way that your users are going to understand that to really get the kind of connection that your app demands from its audience.
So I think this is just fantastic advice, right, for anyone who's thinking about developing an app, or someone like me who is in the process of developing an app, about all the things that we just said here. And I think to me personally, one of the things that really attracted me towards this industry is the fact that for the first time really you have a device in your pocket that is a beacon about who you are, where you are, what you're doing. And that, having the background as a data analyst, that's a lot of data, I think a lot of data. And so being able to leverage that, being able to do stuff like that is, and to build on that is really attractive, it's a very powerful thing in a way that can change not just your life as an app developer, but also the person who's using